Trump went on Dave Ramsey's show. Now, Dave Ramsey alleges, I think during this actual thing, perhaps, that his show is not about politics. It's about life. It's about relationships. It's about love. It's about money. It's about investments and stuff. And just for the record, Dave Ramsey is to money what Dr. Phil is to psychiatry. It might have been something they used to do, but now they just like the sound of their own voice. And as someone who loves the sound of his own voice, I'm sympathetic. But at least I admit it. And Dave Ramsey had Trump on, and it says full interview. It says full interview, but it's 24 minutes long. Yeah. That's not a long interview. I'm going to go with, there's no fucking way he sat down with Dave Ramsey and just did 24 minutes. At the baseline, he did a half hour and they cut it down. This is not live, but it says full interview. See that? Full interview. Now, full interview to me means unedited. I know I'm being naive, but that's how it should be. If it's a full interview, right? That's unedited. If you it's a complete interview, which would encompass the parts that you want to show because that's the interview. Cool. Okay, that would be a complete interview. It's not the full interview. Full interview is everything that was said and done during the entire interview. Okay. I know I'm nitpicking, but it's kind of important. By the way, why does Dave Ramsey have a logo like he's about to announce like the latest phone from his company?
This inflation thing's a big deal. So
yeah, man.
The first 90 days, the strokes that you make to change the economy when you're elected, that's pretty dramatic.
I believe I'll be able to get energy down to 50% of what it is right now.
Well, this is some heavy fucking editing. I'm guessing this is the teaser.
Within a period of less than a year.
I know small businesses are where jobs come from. When you guys in government can take your hands off of small business, we're able to employ people and change things. So how can you help small businesses?
You have to love what you do. If you don't love what you do, it's not going to work. It's the largest tax cuts in the history of our country.
Are they cutting this together to make him look like an asshole? Or is this, because this isn't really... If I'm looking to learn something from this, that's not going to help. Also, yeah, somebody is sent in there. Do I have a... Yeah, I don't have the nut warning on this one. I'm sorry. That's terrible. I'm going to have... I got to go get it. Sorry. I got to be a professional, if I may. Documents. And, let's see, stills and assets. Where did I put this in? This will be... Oops and thing, pizza. I know I have it in here. Hold on. Where'd it go? I gotta search it. Hold on. Yeah, here we go. Where's this guy? Right. I gotta put this in here. Sorry. My apologies, folks. I should have had this up earlier. And let's see, I got to put it up on the, even though it's very small. Yeah, let's see, put this on here. Hold on. Yeah. Even though it's very small, I'll put it up on the Instagram as well, because I just feel like, I feel bad if people aren't, if it's sprung on them, even though it's you can't really see it as much. So there might be a close-up, and then what? And then what? So, anyways, here we go. You've been warned. Yeah. All right, here we go.
That's why we became so successful.
You think we can do that again?
Yeah, I think we can go lower. If I don't turn my head at the exact night.
Oh, my God. Fucking hell. I'm going to speak of this tonight. and I will never speak of it again, except in every fucking interview where I try to make it look like God chose me.
90-degree angle. If I was a little off, I'm not doing this very nice interview with you.
I hear you're going back to Butler and finish the speech.
I am. I'm going to say...
Yeah, I can't wait to hear what he's going to say.
Hey guys, Dave Ramsey here
Hey, Dave Ramsey, how you doing?
with the Ramsey Show. If you don't
Oh, good. Well, I'm Hal Sparks with Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide, also known as the most Hal Sparks show that Hal Sparks can put together in the most Hal Sparks way. Don't forget to like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Patreon.com/Hal Sparks. Hal Sparks. Did I mention Hal Sparks? Thanks, Dave. Anyways, back to Dave Ramsey doing his best to try and not Hal Sparks because he would fail miserably.
you don't know what the Ramsey Show is, it's a show about life, about money, about relationships. It's not a show about politics. We specifically, over the years, have...
Okay, first of all, bullshit. Secondly, life, relationships, and money. I'm sorry. Is this how to, like, hire and pay a hooker? Is this... I don't understand the show.
tried to remind you over and over again that what happens in your house is more important for your success than what happens in the White House. We also realize that this election...
Right. Yeah, but if Trump ends democracy as we know it, for example, it's going to affect my house.
Election is a really important time right now. The people are really...
I'm sorry, maybe, hey, asshole, welcome to politics, but every election is important. We live in a democracy, dickhead.
really looking at what's happening. There's a real divisiveness in the air, a lot
There
of
is.
anger in the air. So our team reached out
Is there? Our team reached out to the most divisive, angry asshole we could find.
to Vice President Harris's team about the opportunity to sit down with her for a long-form interview, and reached out to
A long-form interview? You mean 24 minutes and 50 seconds?
President Trump's team about the opportunity to sit down for a long-form interview with him.
And long-form means...
To talk about ideas, talk about what's going to happen, not what has happened, and not about
Yeah, don't bring up the fucking election. I don't need to pay Dominion $1 million.
personalities, and not about name calling, because both sides are pretty good at all of that stuff. And
Are they both sides?
the fact that I sit down with either one of these candidates is going to piss some of you off, and frankly, I'm perfectly fine with that. It's something I wanted to do, and I felt like it was something we needed to talk about. So I find...
Yeah, okay. I'm not pissed off that you sat down with him. I'm not surprised at all. Trump is your dude. Don't lie to everybody and act like you're both sidesing this and that you're some sort of neutral arbiter, dickhead. But also, lay off the fucking jump cuts.
find myself sitting here in Trump Tower, getting ready to interview President Trump.
Oh, that explains why there's barely any books on the shelves. I was like, who has a big library like that with so few books? Ah, that's how I got you. Hey.
Trump for a few minutes. I think you're going to find this really interesting.
Do you really?
So President Trump, thanks for taking time to sit down with us.
Thank you
Honored
very
to
Very little time.
be with you. Good
Thank
to hang
you,
out
Dave.
with you. As you know, we do a show called The Ramsey Show and talk to regular folks every day, calling in most of the time.
And today we don't want to talk to a regular person. We want to talk to a second-generation rich kid asshole who was born with a silver spoon and has took us and never really had a want for anything and has managed somehow to take his father's business and bankrupt it 6 times. And how do you fuck up a casino? That was my... Sorry, I'll save that question for later.
Time with financial trouble, sometimes with financial victories, stuff we've taught them to do, the basic grandma's common sense stuff.
Right.
And that audience that's going to be watching this is, they're not concerned with a lot of things, but they are concerned with $8
They aren't?
eggs,
Right.
$5 gas, 7%
They should
interest
be.
rates, and a
$8 eggs and $5 gas? I thought you weren't going to talk about the past. I thought you were going to talk about now. I'm sorry, you talking about the fucking quail egg omelet they sell at the fucking Trump Tower that Trump pours ketchup all over?
house they can't afford with wages not going up as fast as house prices. This inflation thing's a big deal.
So I'm glad he's a neutral arbiter, and at least he's not reiterating a bunch of dipshit right-wing talking points about the economy itself. Granted, obviously, you know what? Probably it's my bad. I should be more sensitive. Obviously, the people in Trump Tower have been hit by inflation. You know, that's why they had to sell all the books or use them to build a fire, I guess.
So in the first 90 days, the strokes that you make to change the economy when you're elected are a big deal. What's the first things you're going to do on
Yeah, what's the first thing you're going to do? Well, we're going to drill, baby, drill.
that?
Well, in terms of inflation, you're right. And it's almost inflation over the economy, if you want to really know.
Hey, fuckwad. Inflation is part of the economy. What? And the fact that does Dave Ramsey respond with like, how do you separate inflation from the economy?
Because people are getting wiped out like never before. I think
What the fuck are you nodding about? How do you separate inflation from the economy, dumb fuck?
it's the highest inflation we've ever had. They say it's the highest in 48 years. I think it's the highest ever.
No. We don't have the highest in 40 years. We had the highest in 40 years, and it went down. We don't currently.
How are they going to talk about the past?
There's never been any mess like this, and it's
Yes, there has. It's been worse. 2008 was worse. Fuck off.
because of what they did with energy. Also, then they topped it with
Look at that edit. Look at that. What the fuck listen, watch. All right. It's one thing. Fuck this dude. It's one thing to like just let some of his shit slide. But watch this edit.
in any mess like this, and it's because of what they did with energy. Also, then they topped it
Energy. Also that.
with spending with money that trillions and trillions of dollars that they didn't need. That's being
And again, what the fuck is Dave Ramsey nodding about? I think that should be the name of this video. What the fuck is Dave Ramsey nodding about? Look, when we clip this, he's just like, yeah, sure, yeah. Excuse me, Dave. What the fuck is he talking about?
then they topped it with spending with money that trillions and trillions of dollars that they didn't need. That's being just wasted.
What again? What do you mean they topped it, motherfucker? You topped it. You signed off on the initial pandemic spending. What do you mean?
But the first thing you have to do is get the energy down. If you get the energy down, other things are going to follow. You want to get the interest rates down too. And interestingly, even interest rates are going to follow energy because it's going to take that burden off the shoulders of the economy and off the shoulders of inflation itself.
I don't watch Dave Ramsey's show. I know of him. He's been around for a long time. Wrote a lot of like jumpstart your finances books and shit like that. But him, you want to talk about something that's like disqualifying in terms of someone who gives advice on anything? Him nodding his way through whatever the fuck this is disqualifying. Listen to this again. Listen to this fucking gibberish. And this is even, by the way, this is the edited version. They're clearly slicing some shit out.
Down. If you get the energy down, other things are going to follow. You want to get the interest rates down too. And interestingly, even interest rates are going to follow energy because it's going to take that burden off the shoulders of the economy and off the shoulders of inflation itself. And we are going to drill at a level that you haven't seen since, let's say, 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, okay, so we're going to drill less. That's your plan. 4 or 5 years ago, we were drilling less. 4 or 5 years ago, we were producing less oil. 4 or 5 years ago, we were producing less gas. So that's the solution. Let's be abundantly fucking clear. Dave Ramsey is nodding at Trump saying, we are going to drill less. We are going to produce less oil and gas. That's what he's saying because that's what fucking happened. Just to be clear, Dave Ramsey's nodding at that. And I was not aware until now that Dave Ramsey was a dumbass on a massive scale. Or such a pathetic suck up that he just lets dumbassery like this slide. Now, real quick, he says he takes calls from regular people. If a regular person called in, Donald from New York, and he didn't know who the fuck this guy was, and he said what he just said on the phone with Dave Ramsey would mock him incessantly for the rest of the show. Right? He would go, "Sir, clearly you don't know shit about the economy. What are you talking about?"
But even more so, we would have been so dominant by this point. If you remember,
we are.
When you go back to the beginning of this really failed administration that we're in right now, what they did was they turned off the energy. They turned off everything that I had
So you
built.
turn back on the Keystone. You're going to turn back on the drill baby drill line and the...
It's drill baby.
I'll say, okay, first, the drill baby drill line, what does that mean? Okay, Keystone XL pipeline wasn't online then. It wouldn't have been online for a couple of years. The amount of oil in the available as far as its effect on the price of oil or gas would have been meaningless for years. So the idea that like it was on and we were making money from the oil that was in that pipeline is a lie. It wasn't working. It wasn't functional yet. And the idea, and it's Canadian oil to begin with.
In your acceptance speech at the convention.
Sure. It says it all. You know, I'd like to use another line, but there's no line that's better. And we're going to drill, baby, drill. But the fact...
Whoa. No. It's a stupid fucking line. It was dumb when Sarah Palin said it. It's even dumber now. What? Drill what? There are 9,000 unused leases by Exxon and Chevron and all these companies. And again, there's only two ways you can drill, baby, drill. Put a gun to their head and force them to do it, or give them subsidies to support the price as it goes down so that they don't lose profits. Because what's their incentive for lowering the price of the product that they get out of the earth that everybody needs? What's the incentive?
That they turned it off, and then the energy, if you look back at the very initial period of their administration, the numbers started going through the roof, the energy.
Yeah, because we were coming out of COVID. There was a giant pandemic. Nobody was going anywhere. There weren't even people to like refine the oil into gasoline because a lot of the plants were shut down. They couldn't get people back in there because there was a fucking pandemic rolling across the goddamn country. And then Americans started going back to work and doing shit faster than anybody else because our recovery was rock solid and we trusted our vaccines and we went back to work and we managed even through Delta and all that other stuff. The fuck?
Numbers. Inflation was good. And then they went back to Trump where they're trying to equal it. And it kept...
They went back to Trump where they're trying to equal it. Trying to equal it. They surpassed it.
It bad as opposed to horrific. And it's been really bad. And the energy has been very expensive, but nothing like it could have been. So they went back to Trump type things. But we would have been now 3 to 4 times more. We would have been dominating the entire world on energy. We have more than anybody else, as you've heard me say, but as you also know.
Right.
We have...
Sure, right. Yeah, we have more than anybody else. Yes, we're producing, but we also use more than anybody else. Hence the whole thing about electric cars. If we used less of it, we could sell more of it.
Call it liquid gold. We have more liquid gold under our feet than anybody else. Actually, by far, we would have dominated. We would have been taking...
Again, just garbage.
...care of Europe. We would have been taking care...
We would have been taking care of Europe.
of Asia, we would have been taking care, Anwar.
Again, what the fuck is he nodding about? And by the way, he's going to say, I got Anwar, and everybody wanted it. You didn't get it, dumbass. It wasn't online. This was not, he acts like Anwar was pumping fucking oil, and that's why prices were low. And it wasn't because nobody was fucking going anywhere, and the price of a barrel of oil was negative $36.
In Alaska is the biggest find anywhere in the world. It could be as big as Saudi Arabia. And I got it. Ronald Reagan couldn't get it. Nobody could get it. I got it.
You didn't get it.
It was done, ready to start.
Done, ready to start, isn't gotten it.
And when these people came in, they turned it off. They terminated it.
They turned it off? It wasn't on, motherfucker.
Nobody could believe it.
I don't know if people.
He ran on it. It wasn't the other people tried to get it, and it was like so unpopular. They were like, what the fuck are you doing?
People realize that 10 to 15% of the entire economy is energy,
right,
and it weaves its tentacles through everything else. So $5 gas affects the bread truck who's delivering the bread, and that affects the cost of the bread then. And so
right. And real quick, Dave Ramsey. During COVID, oil was negative $36 a barrel at one point, and gas went down to $1.80 because no one was going anywhere. Bread, arguably enough, got more expensive. Why would that be? I think it might be because of the other 85 to 90% of the economy you're talking about.
yeah, getting that plentiful changes everything.
So I have a little thing that I've been saying lately because I think it's easily achievable.
He's going to cut energy costs in half.
We pay very high energy costs, and especially now, but we're paying very, very high. I believe I'll be able to get energy down to 50%.
Yeah, that's insanity. Now, let me explain one of the reasons why Trump thinks this. Why would Trump believe this? Why would he think something he's going to do is going to cut the cost of oil? You're going to double oil production in a short period, in a couple of months? You're gonna flood the market with oil and gas? Okay. Does anybody know where he gets that shit from? I'll show you. Money Watch. This is from June of this year, and this is fairly common. There's a bunch of this around, and I want you to know this, okay? I want you to see that this is one of the reasons why he thinks he's going to do it, because it's already happening. Here it is. The world could see a massive oil glut. Here's why. This is from June 2024. The world could have a glut of oil by the end of the decade because of rising production combined with declining demand as consumers and business switch to electric vehicles and renewable energy, and according to a new report from the International Energy Agency. The International Energy Agency said Wednesday that the world's total oil supply capacity is expected to rise about 114 million barrels a day by 2030, which the group said would amount to a staggering 8 million barrels a day beyond projected demand. This is in the next 6 years. They're going to be 8 billion beyond total world demand. Now, the other part, the type of spare capacity hasn't been seen outside the COVID-19 lockdowns of 2020 when economies across the world shut down as governments sought to stop the spread of a deadly virus, the IEA said. The extra capacity could have significant consequences for oil markets, ranging from the U.S. to OPEC member nations such as Saudi Arabia and Kuwait, it added. This report's projections, based on the latest data, show a major supply surplus emerging this decade, suggesting that oil companies may want to make sure their business strategies and plans are prepared for changes taking place. No shit. There is such fucking goofy shit. China was supposed to require a bunch of, here you go. China was supposed to be this big market for oil. That was going to be the big change. Oil, like China's growth was, you know, the whole like China's going to eat our fucking lunch shit. Okay. Zero policy at all. I mean, granted, we're moving towards a more electric energy supply and all that kind of shit. But China was supposed to use a ton of oil because their economy was going to continue to grow and grow. And people were projecting that out for decades. That, you know, oh my God, by 2050, they're all going to be blah, blah, blah. Well, that all dis-a-fucking-peared. That was, turned out to be nonsense. And so they're not going to use anywhere near the oil that was expected. So people were ramping up their production, including the United States, with the idea that we're going to sell a bunch of oil to emerging markets, specifically Asia. And China being the biggest player in that. And then China not only decided that they're, they're going to basically, I don't know, hamstring their entire economy, but gutting it entirely might be the plan. The glut means an oversupply. HSBC lowered its oil price forecast for 2024 and 2025, saying that increased production by the OPEC Plus later this year will drive a supply glut in 2025 because they've been artificially holding it down. Thank you for that, Mark. Yes, you're watching House Sparks Maker Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Where House Sparks can House Sparks like no one else House Sparks is. Okay. OPEC Plus plan to increase output by 180,000 barrels per day each month from December because they have been choking the economy on purpose to try and weight things in Trump's favor. But they can't do it anymore because the other OPEC Plus countries can't hold out. They can't afford not to sell the oil. So they, you know, even if they get a cheaper price for it, they got to get it out on the market. And so they're not waiting anymore. And they've been bucking against it for a while now. There you go. Noting that OPEC Plus significant spare output and output growth in non-OPEC remains solid. However, demand growth is slowing in the midst of the energy transition. You can drill, baby, drill, or you can electric car, baby, electric car. And that's what's actually happening. What's actually happening is the electric car and the shift that it is having. Yes, the port strike is over as well. That, of course, was supposed to be a nightmare that lasted longer and didn't at all. But Trump's whole idea, we're going to drill, baby, drill, baby, drill, baby, drill, baby, drill. Great. You'll just contribute to the fucking glut. We're already going to be part of the oil glut next year. We will be overproducing because our usage of it is going down. And that's how you handle it. There are a lot of ways we can power cars and all kinds of shit without oil. We don't fucking run factories on it, no matter what this dickhead says. It's this weird thing about him, like, we can't use renewables to run our factories. Look, fuck. We use coal and natural gas and nuclear for a lot of these factories. We don't use fucking petroleum most of the time. It's weird.
50% of what it is right now within a period of less than a year.
Wow.
That's pretty
Wow, that sounds like bullshit.
good. It's going to happen fast, okay? It's going to happen fast.
Because he knows there's going to be a glut next year and he's counting for that to shave off like 30% of it.
What are you going to do to do that? What causes that?
They're going to
Yeah, what causes it? What's the thing? What's the actual
drill. They're going to frack. They're going to do
They are they? They're going to drill and they're going to frack? Who's they? Why aren't they drilling and fracking now?
things that they have tremendous additional.
So taking the regs off, taking the regulations off.
Yeah,
He's going to take the regulations off. Yeah, like what? Like what? That they can drill close to fucking aquifers? What do you mean? You're going to take the regulations off. Yeah, let them loose. Cut these giant oil companies loose.
We have to. They put them back on. They put regulations back on that areas that have no environmental real meaning, they don't let them drill. They're taking leases away, government leases that you're hearing about.
No, he isn't. Don't like this is his bullshit Jedi mind trick that apparently Ramsey is completely intoxicated by. Good Lord. They're not taking fucking, they're not cutting, saying you can't go into like new areas. Those are places that have always been off limits.
I think we can get energy costs down to half of what they, if we do that.
That's pretty dramatic.
That's pretty dramatic. How are you going to do it? Another pandemic. I think we use a big biological weapon. We take a hint from the Chinese. We do our own Wuhan lab, and we release a pandemic across the world that basically seizes up the world economy or whatever. You'll see oil prices drop through the fucking floor. They'll be paying us to give it to us again.
Everything, all of those inflated prices are going to come down with it.
I think the other piece of that, and I know he was part of your administration, and you and I were talking before we turned the cameras on, that we have a mutual friend in Art Laffer.
Wow, he's
and
great.
I know he helped.
The Laffer curve, who, was it George Bush called it voodoo economics? Something DOO economics. Voodoo economics.
A little bit with the tax code in the last administration. And I personally have experienced the Laffer curve, that lower taxes causes increased revenues to the federal government because it heats up the economy. And I'm a small business guy. When you lower my taxes, it doesn't mean I put it in my pocket. It means I hire people.
Right.
No, you don't. Bullshit. The only reason when you lower taxes that you hire people is if you get a tax break for hiring people. Fuck you, Dave Ramsey. This is nonsense. This is mythology. Show me where you expanded your organization because your taxes went down. Without it being, by the way, without it being caused directly, fuck this dude, by a tax break that companies get if they maintain their employees or hire new people.
And so talk about lowering taxes in the first year of your administration.
Yeah, you probably saw my plan, and I think we have something really good.
Your plan? Did you? What? He saw your plan, did he? What was your plan?
I was yesterday in North Carolina, which is great. That was the furniture capital of the world. And China then went in and did a number and took so much of that business, most of that business. That.
What? Wait, you don't mean IKEA, do you?
Talent. I used to go there to buy furniture for hotels and things.
Hickory, North Carolina.
Yep, in Hickory. I was in Hickory yesterday and made this.
And you stopped? Oh, right. Why'd you stop? Oh, because you used to buy furniture there, but now you buy them from the Chinese? Fuck you! What the fuck? I used to buy furniture from them. People used to buy, they used to be the furniture capital of the world. Then the Chinese moved in, and I started filling all my buildings with Chinese furniture. Eat shit. Oh my God, what a dick.
And we're going to bring it all back. What we're doing is this.
How? You won't bring it back now, you dumb motherfucker. You don't think they still make furniture there?
Sort of a two-face. Number one, I took taxes from 39% to 21%. You know that better than anyone. It's the largest.
Why would he know that better than anyone? Certainly the people who crafted the actual legislation might, never mind.
Tax cuts in the history of our country. And that was great. That's why we became so successful.
No, it's why we entered a recession. It's why you blew a hole in the deficit. It's why you added a third to our national debt.
You think we can do that again?
Yeah, I think we can go lower. And I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm bringing it from 21 to 15, but you have to manufacture your product here. And
right. So real estate companies automatically make their stuff here because it's property. So they automatically get a 15%. Any other company that sources their stuff from outside the country or in that shit, that for 3, 4, maybe 5 years while they try to reshore shit, will be paying a higher tax rate than his personal industry.
And then you pay 15%. And then I'm going to put tariffs on countries so they can't come in and steal our business.
So he's putting tariffs on American companies that make their shit overseas and then ship them into the country. That's what he's doing. He's tariffing American companies.
So that our businesses now can be competitive. Not that, I mean, China came in and just stole all our furniture.
First of all, your businesses can be competitive selling to the American people they have to make their stuff in the United States, which will drive the price up. What's the price going to be comparative to the price that's come in? Like if you give 100% tariff, but you still have to, what the fuck do you think furniture is going to cost made in those places once they've been fully reshored? What do you think the cost, like how are you going to zero it out? Like a 200% tariff? You have to buy this stuff and only that stuff? It's dumb.
And many other industries, by the way, including steel. And I save steel by putting 50% and 100% tariffs on all of the steel that they were dumping. But we're going to do.
You mean the Obama steel tariffs that you kept on?
So in other words, this is a dream for you then. We're bringing the tax rate from 21. Remember, it was 39. And it was really 50 if you add state and local and all of the other things. So.
Because you got rid of salt?
We're going to bring it down from 20.
Because you got rid of salt so that you could pretend to give a tax break and then take it from the states because you wanted to take more from the big blue states that provide all the tax dollars and give it to fucking red states?
21 to 15. I got it down to 21, which everyone said was impossible and got it approved by Congress. So it's, it's there. And we're going to bring that down to 15. But you have
for corporations, for companies, not for individuals. That one expired.
Have to make your product in the United States.
Yeah. And we do see federal revenues go up when the taxes go down because the economy goes.
You saw it with me.
We saw it with Reagan, too.
You saw it with Reagan.
No, you didn't.
So at 39%, and then
you saw it with Clinton. But that's not how he did it.
Down to 21%, you would think we'd do half or you'd do much less. In the first full year, we did much more revenue in the United States than we did at 39. In other words, we took in much more money.
Which is how you solve the deficit. I mean, Bill Clinton almost balanced the budget with the exact same principle.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
That's true. He almost balanced it. You didn't do it. You didn't get anywhere near it. He managed to, because he wasn't trying this bullshit manipulation of the of the tax code for his own buddies. He actually had a fairer approach to the whole thing. But he's a Democrat. Fuck.
That's true. He did. And cost cutting.
Yeah.
We have plenty of cost cutting to do too, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's
In fact, I'm going to ask Elon, who's a great
It's Leon to you.
guy, but he's a pretty good.
That was a great interview.
Yeah. Oh, that was a great interview.
Yeah, it was.
No, it wasn't.
That was some interview we did.
That was some interview.
Pretty big numbers. I hear we did like 900 million people or something. That was a pretty good. But he's a great guy, and
yes, and that you have the same amount of hair you had when you were 20
he gave me a full endorsement
in your nose.
and all of that. But he's got a good sense on that. There's tremendous cost cutting that we can do. And affect nothing. We're not going to affect anybody. We're not going to hurt anybody. We have to save Social Security and keep it good and solid. I don't want to be raising ages or anything. I don't want to do. They're putting migrants into Social Security. When they get finished, they are. If she got a.
Okay, first of all, if you put migrants in, because they're all military-aged males apparently, those people are paying into Social Security. They would make up for the gap in the workforce that's not feeding into Social Security, where the aging baby boomers, are taking more than there are replacement workers to feed into Social Security. That was the argument. So if they're putting migrants in to do it, then those migrants are actually helping keep it solvent. Also, if they're putting them into it and they don't get permanent status or they don't become citizens, they don't get it. Never mind the fact that this is bullshit.
Elected, this country is going bust. If she got elected, we're going back to 1929 depression.
That's what he said about Biden. What's the stock market like right now? I mean, obviously, now, in all fairness, he said we, and he might not mean the country. He might mean his dumbass family, which is true. If when Harris wins, Trump and his entire clan are going back to 1929 economics. Yes, that seems plausible.
It would be a disaster for Medicare, Social Security. They're allowing millions and millions of people to come in. You can't use these schools anymore.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, nobody goes to school. I mean, my kid's going to school and he's doing great. He's got a quiz in math next week, and he's doing terrific. He's doing pre-algebra stuff. But he can't. I mean, I hope he does. They have a quiz scheduled, but obviously, the migrants are in the way, and he's like, they even work it in. Like, if 7 migrants come in and 5 times each, and they are all deported, how many of the 7 are still in the country? It's a trick question.
Quality of life in this country has gone so bad because of what they've done.
So the quality of life in America has eaten shit because there are too many brown people that have been let into the country, because brown takes away, even if you can afford to go to a football game and stuff, they're there. They're there, right? They're around. And your quality of life goes down. You just feel it,
One of the things that our viewers know about us, we work with tens of thousands of small business people. And so coaching them, 54% of the gross domestic product is businesses 500 people or less.
Yeah.
Almost.
Right. Trump's company is 500 people or less. It's like 10 fucking people. But Trump wouldn't call himself a fucking small business.
Everyone in America, over half, almost 60% of people work for.
Also, by the way, Trump has 1,500 LLCs where he's the single signer on it that has just $1 million fucking account that some asshole overseas is putting money into. And that qualifies as a business with revenue on paper, according to this guy. Same people, 1,500 businesses. Small businesses, because there's only 3 signatories, and a lot of times there's only fucking 1.
Yeah. A small business. And I know small businesses are where jobs come from, not from government. So politicians don't create jobs, small businesses do.
Right, but politicians create the environment where those businesses can fucking thrive. They don't come up with the idea. This fucking lame-ass sovereign citizen libertarian horseshit can suck it. This is so fucking lame. I am so bored with this talking point. It comes up all the government doesn't create jobs, businesses create jobs. Yeah, we know, asshole. The government doesn't create water. No, but they fucking make sure it's clean when you drink it. And every aspect of this, just anti-regulation horseshit from pricks like this. The cable that goes to this microphone has been tested multiple times and has to pass regulations so that when you touch the microphone with your hand, it doesn't fucking electrocute you. Every light bulb in that place has regulations around them where they don't burst and catch fire. There's a regulation that makes sure that you don't put lithium-ion batteries in your fucking bag that go into the plane, because if something happens and they bang against each other, it can start a fire in the belly of the plane and take it out of the fucking sky. That's a regulation. And that regulation, which annoys the shit out of him and he wants it gotten rid of, is why modern planes get where they're going. It's 50 regulations in why you can drink the fucking coffee that's in that cup, or the fucking, I don't know, Diet Coke that's in his. So the can is fucking rusty. So there's not, there's not benzene in the fucking sparkling water they put in the drink to give it its fizz. Good Lord.
Small businesses,
kind of pisses people like me off when when the politicians say they're ones making the jobs. We're the ones making the jobs. Right. But when you guys in government,
hold on, he's claiming he created jobs. What are you talking about? Trump always says we created more jobs. We created all these jobs. These are my jobs. I created them. They're just bounce back jobs. We created those jobs. You pissed at him? Did you just say you're pissed at him? You fucking coward.
It can take your hands off of small business and allow us to do our thing. We're able to employ people and change things. So how can you help small businesses?
By not helping. I think that's the key.
Well, the best way is just letting them do what they have to do, but we still have to give them a playing field. If we don't give them a level playing field, they will die.
What a bunch of commie bullshit.
And that's what happened before. That's why China came in. That's why they came in, and they came in at a level like nobody's ever seen. And we.
All right. What are you talking about? The Chinese came in, and they came in at a level that no one's ever seen before.
Did nothing about it. So the word.
Did nothing about it. Motherfucker, ask all these. All right. Go on YouTube and look up fucking drop shipping. How to make money as a drop shipper. The fucking millionaires that were printed during the drop shipping like craze that's been going on. Well, what's a drop shipper? It's somebody who finds a product that's already made in China, lists it on Amazon, and when you buy it, it goes right through their account, and they take, you know, the majority of the cost of it. Who's fucking they? Our trade deficit with China is because of wholesale, not retail, you dumb motherfucker.
Tariff to me is a very beautiful word because it can save our country, truly. And yet, I think because of graft, because of a lot of consulting payments and other things that given by other countries, we have so much fighting with politicians on using it. I saved our...
Sorry. Graft? So foreign countries are bribing our politicians. You mean like Egypt?
Our steel industries by putting tariffs on steel that China came in and dumped. And you know what they do? They dump and dump.
Hold on. What happened?
With politicians on using it. I saved our steel industries by putting tariffs on steel that China came in and dumped.
Also, Dave Ramsey, what the fuck are you nodding about? Think he's the first person to put on steel tariffs? Hey, guess where the steel for Trump Tower came from?
And you know what they do? They dump and dump.
By the way, by graft, he means bribes.
And dump. Everybody goes out of business. Then they buy those businesses very cheap, and then they raise the prices.
Right. This is Trump's golf course methodology.
The higher than they ever were. That's one of the many benefits that they have if they want to do it. But by putting tariffs on, as an example, in the furniture business in
Hold on. Somebody's shouting at me. Hold on. What is this? Hal, I'm a vet. I go to the administration in Melrose Park weekly, and there's some vets still a bit disillusioned over this freak. Next month, I'm hoping to be able to re-up subscription. No worries, Casey. Just glad to have you here, man. Or lady. I don't know, Casey. It's hard to tell. It's a bendable name.
in North Carolina. It was so vibrant, and they stole our business. And they charge us, if you wanted to build a furniture place, if you want to sell your furniture in China, they won't take it. But if you want to build a plant in China to make furniture in China using their labor, they open it. We're doing the same thing. But
what? Okay. First of all, they make so much shit, they're awash in it. They have full-on deflation in China because they rip everybody off. They create again, the difference between like a Louis Vuitton bag that's a knockoff versus the real thing is that the knockoffs are made in the same Louis Vuitton factory that's in China. They just do it after closing. 6 o'clock, new shift comes in. They start making the same shit off brand, and they sell the knockoffs all over the fucking world. So it's a game. But a lot of, if you're not making something that's that brand heavy, like furniture, for example, you can just build a factory over there. And if they do it, you kind of don't give a shit because most people are going to come in and buy your stuff in North Carolina from the place. They didn't ask, nobody made them ship their shit overseas. And if you're talking about like fine furniture, that's not what they make in China. They're making the knockoffs. They're making the particle board furniture.
A lot of people like, oh, well, we don't want to have tariffs. The country was at
Is that how they talk? Oh, well, we don't want to have tariffs. A lot of people say it like that. They do. Yeah. Fucking toddlers.
the richest point in its history in the 1890s. It was all tariffs. If you looked at
Oh my God. All right, we're going back to the economy of the 1890s. Is that the plan now? It's almost 2025, and this dumb motherfucker thinks we need to like rebuild our economy based on pre-industrial standards.
William McKinley as an example. He was a big tariff president. They had committees
Jesus Christ, dude. We had wood boats.
that were put in charge of what to do with the money. We were taking in so much money.
Yeah, because we were an impoverished pre-industrial country like everybody else.
And McKinley would say, why should we let other people come in and steal our factories and steal our workers and steal our jobs? And why shouldn't we benefit? And
Did he? He did. Did he come up with fucking Make America Great Again too?
he tariffed the other countries. And we made so much, and then they went to the income tax system later on.
Wait till this asshole finds out about the Boston Tea Party.
But they would actually they had a blue ribbon committee. Our country was so rich, they didn't know what to do with the money. And
They had some
this
idea.
blue ribbon committee was set up to determine how can we spend all of this money. And
What? First, Blue Ribbon Committee? You mean on infrastructure? What the fuck? That's because they didn't have a tax policy yet, stupid. They didn't even have a way to gather the taxes.
they took it in through tariffs. But we can turn
That, by the way, is the noise of Dave Ramsey wanting to say bullshit if it was a normal person on the telephone calling into his show, but he can't because he's sucking Trump's balls. And so that's the noise that when you're pelicaning Trump's fucking nuts right in front of him and he says something that you normally would go, that's a bunch of fucking nonsense. You go, like that.
turn our country around, make it strong, and then guard
Yes, we're going to turn our country around and take it back to 1890, the good old days. You know, when syphilis was an aspirational disease.
it with tariffs.
Yeah. Let's change gears for a second. My wife
Yes, let's change gears for a second because if I let you go down this, basically, we need to downshift because your vehicle is careening out of control.
Sharon and I were in Scotland 2 weeks ago, and we played a bunch of different courses there, including Turnberry.
Good.
Which arguably, according to the golf guys I was playing with, is the nicest course in the UK right
Arguably?
now. And certainly the halfway house, the
Oh,
lighthouse
so
out
isn't
there.
that good?
Turnberry's amazing.
Yeah.
But what I came away with, not only is the golf course great, just to give you a huge compliment,
Thank you.
you know that, but the staff and the team, the excellence in the hotel, in the restaurants, in the golf shop, everybody we dealt with. Talk about what it's like to work for Donald
Sorry, are they assholes at other golf courses?
Trump. How do you hire leaders and put people in place that do that? Because I know you're obviously not there personally managing that, but you put a culture in place in your
Yeah, it's the culture.
organization, and
It's not Scotland.
that applies to the administration as well.
Maybe it's I don't know. Here, hey Dave, here's a good idea. Go to his fucking West Palm Beach dump, the one where the guy supposedly went pew pew at him a couple weeks ago. Go golf there. Is it just as good? Don't think so. I mean, by the way, it gets real good if they know you're Dave Ramsey. If they don't know you're Dave Ramsey, I'm sure there's a huge drop off. But go to his shithole in West Palm Beach, south of the airport, with all the jet fuel dropping all over it, near the strip club and the gun shop and the fucking jail, and golf there, and talk to the golfers there, and then talk to some of the staff and go, maybe it's not the culture of Trump properties. Maybe it's just fucking Scots are nice.
Well, hiring people that are quality leaders.
Well, my son, Eric, is very much involved, and he runs a lot of it. And Don helps out a lot.
Yeah, he keeps everybody medicated.
And Ivanka, to a lesser extent, you know, she's a great mother and everything. She did a fantastic job in the
Yeah, she's a great mother and everything. She did a fantastic job. you know how normal people talk about their relatives.
Administration. All she wanted to do is get people jobs. And she'd go around and see Exxon and see Walmart.
Yeah, you just go and see them. Oh, there's an Exxon. There's a Walmart.
She wanted jobs for people. It's really pretty amazing. She could have had a very glamorous job, and
What?
she would have done well. But Eric's done a great job.
Let me real quick. She didn't, by any chance, when she was talking to these big companies like Walmart, also meet with their buyers and get some of the family products, especially hers, into some of their stores. She didn't have secondary meetings with all those businesses that maybe, you know, ended up with her and Jared having deals after they left office that benefited them personally on a financial level. Now she was just there to get jobs for people.
And
Strangers.
I did a similar type of job when I was doing it. Now I'm doing a thing called running for president, so I don't.
I'm doing a thing called I'm running for
That's a
president.
little bit
But we
consuming.
rebuilt Turnberry. Turnberry was considered one of the greatest courses in the world
And then you rebuilt it, and it's not anymore?
because the land is so incredible, right? With the
I see. So it was already a place. Let me guess. You bought a dying golf course that has a great view, and you nouveau reached the fucking clubhouse, and you got a bunch of fucking Russians running around there dumping money into the place for a few years to artificially prop it up.
ocean, and
Yeah,
you know that
beautiful.
ninth hole over you're hitting over the ocean. How good a golfer are you?
13.
All right, that's
Not
okay.
great. I'm
That's
just learning. I've
actually
only been
good.
playing 5 years. I'm just learning.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Enjoyed you and Bryson's 50.
Wasn't that
That was
great?
fun. That was a great video.
That one did well in
did.
terms of the
It
ratings.
did. And he can
That was like that was the biggest pile of bullshit where they were like trying to hit under 50 or some shit like that. We watched some of that with Boston Bryant.
swing a club.
He can swing, and he's a great guy. And he is very long, very straight.
I understood there would be no cock talk tonight.
And you know what? He's a great putter.
Yeah.
One of the
He's-
best putters. He's one of the
world
best
class.
putters in the world.
Yeah, he totally is. I was gonna say.
That was quite an exciting thing. We got it down to 50.
You actually pulled one hole off. I watched it.
Yeah, well,
All
yeah.
rode on you. You carried one
Even
in.
more than one hole, if you want to. But
If you want to know the truth, we didn't show it because it didn't happen.
we did well. We did
Yeah,
well.
you did. It was very,
You almost killed him in the golf cart, dummy.
very fun. So, what leadership qualities, when Eric's hiring, did you teach him to look for?
Well,
Well, I didn't really teach him anything. Gary Busey was his real father, and
I like the recommendation business, but what I like best is taking people that are in the company and moving them up. You take a
it's just. Did he learn anything from anyone who isn't a mobster? His entire business model is built on this like cartoon idea of what mobs do. If you got somebody in there and they know how shit works, you move them up the chain, it's all based on loyalty and being inside the circle, and you test people out and you see what they'll put up with, and if you get a chick in there and she can take the ribbing, then maybe you move her up where she works in some of the rooms. You know what I'm saying?
a waitress as an example.
Motherfucker. Just. He wants to bring up the waitress that he asked about no tax on tips and pretend that she's going to get a fucking
And
raise.
she becomes the head of the restaurant. You say, because you know if certain people are good.
Yeah, you do. You know if certain people are good.
And when they work for you already, that's better than recommendation. But if you don't do that, or if you can't do that for some reason, you really need strong references, and then
Jesus Christ. Hire from within, and if you can't find somebody to hire from within, get good references. Brilliant. Oh my God. Art of the schlemiel. Really? What's your stock advice? Buy low, sell high? Jesus Christ.
And they have to enjoy their job. If they don't enjoy their job, they're not going to be very good at it.
So I ended up at a table, Ronnie Barrett,
Yeah.
Barrett,
Right.
Barrett 50 cal, is a friend of ours, and I ended up at a table with him at an NRA convention with Eric.
Yeah, this show isn't about politics, but he happens to be in an NRA convention. Right, just to watch Russian money go by.
Eric and Donald. Got to spend some time with
Right,
both of
right.
them.
Shocker. Really? The NRA that, is literally a conduit for Russian money, and you just happen to be there, and just Eric and Don just happen to be there?
And you're right, they're impressive. How do you raise great kids? What
You let the women folk do
did
it.
you do?
So
The grandkids are turned out. The granddaughter killed it.
We have, how
Oh,
good
at the
was
convention?
she? Yeah.
Wow.
She's a great golfer,
Yeah,
by the way.
yeah.
She's
Oh my God. Your granddaughter's great. She's great, by the way. She's a great golfer.
She's a great speaker, too.
she was good.
Well, yeah, but we don't. Yeah, Dave, simmer. We don't need women speaking, but it's nice if they can look pretty and be on the golf course. Eye candy.
She was so beautiful, a person in every way. She took over that whole.
Look at that edit. What the fuck did they take out? What did he say in the edit? Like in 10 years, I'd be dating
She was
her.
good. She was so beautiful, a person in every way. She took over that whole.
Oh yeah, they definitely cut out something fucked up. She's beautiful in every way. If I was 10 years younger and she was 10 years younger, fuck.
Republican convention. And Kai, our beautiful Kai. So
What's
the
your
one
parenting
thing, the
style?
one thing I owe
What's your parenting style? The one thing I say is no drinking, no drugs, no cigarettes, and then everything else is just women's work.
always told my kids, no drugs, no alcohol, no cigarettes.
Yeah, he says this all the time. This is his go-to. It's fucking muscle memory at this point. That's it. That's your parenting style. So you're basically the Nancy Reagan of parenting. Just say no. Brilliant. What about the other areas of life? I don't know. Relationships, friendships.
Now, in my day, there were no drugs. There was
Yeah, there was definitely the fuck. What? When has there never been drugs? What was this? The 1890s? Fuck are you talking about? You mean the 60s and 70s? What? Jesus Christ, man! This dude was, his heyday was the 70s and 80s. There were no drugs. Get the fuck out of here! I guess everybody forgot to tell everybody at Studio 54.
alcohol and cigarettes and
Yeah, it was just alcohol and cigarettes. Fucking standing around on a street corner like a fucking gin drunk in the 30s. What?
and I had a brother that went through a lot with alcohol and he taught me a lot. He really taught me a lot. And my brother Fred, and he had a problem with alcohol, to put it mildly. And he would always, and he was quite a bit older than me, and he'd been through it. And he would say, no alcohol, I never want to see you drink, very strong. And
And he continued to drink and he died from it.
and he'd also say no cigarettes, but because, cigarettes are like,
Yeah. Cigarettes are like, cigarettes, right? They're cigarettes. That's, it's cigarettes. That's the thing right now, cigarettes. Obviously, you were for, going against, big tobacco back in the day, I'm sure. Yes? The regulations that slowed cigarette sales in the United States. You were for those regulations? Jesus.
you don't need, if you don't smoke, if you don't drink,
So you're saying that 4 out of 5 doctors don't prefer Chesterfields?
you have no problem with staying off
I don't. Okay, I don't smoke, but it's not like my life has been devoid of problems. What are you talking about?
it. When you do drink and it's very hard to stay off it. I mean, I've seen
Is it? So basically, it's just a one, like most. So anybody who drinks is gonna be a drunk. The Trump edition.
Very strong people that cannot get off. But the way you get off is
Again, a subset of a subset of a subset. I think what it is, and forgive me for saying this, but just could it be, and I'm just spitballing here, could it be that some people drink and they have a problem and then they get off of it and they're doing okay, and then they spend some time with you and they're like, fuck, I need a drink. Maybe it's you. maybe maybe that doesn't happen to everybody. Maybe just the drunks who hang out with you and are like, fuck, I thought I had this lick, but Jesus Christ, this guy, I've never wanted a brandy so much in my fucking life. I said, shut the fuck up. I wish I was so drunk I couldn't hear
if you never start.
or smell.
If you never start, I never had a glass of alcohol in my life. I've never had a
Never a glass. I drank straight from the bottle.
glass of alcohol, if you can believe it. I think largely because of my brother. I think if I did, I probably would have a problem, personality type, right? But I never had a
Oh, you mean like the drugs, right? Yeah, the way you snort shit? Of course. Yeah. So, I mean, look at fast food, loose women, right? That's the idea. Everything's you have an addictive personality. Orange spray tans, also you're lying.
glass. I have no longing for it. I have friends that are in the wagon, as they say, and
They do say that, yeah.
I watch them watching trays go by. The tray is going by. Oh, it's like they have, it's a thing that they can't get.
Oh, so they're addicted to trays, are they? It's the tray. Fucking, it's not the glass of alcohol. It's the fucking tray. Donnie, they bring it by on the fucking tray. It makes it look so goddamn good. That's fucking, Could it be the tits? I'm just saying, it is a Trump property. You don't go anywhere else. And you hire based on very limited physical attributes. So could it possibly be that your creepy friends who are just like you are going, and you think they're looking at the glass of alcohol because you're over whoever it is because, everything has to be new or you're not interested.
Over with. Same with smoking. It's tough. I've seen guys just
Edit.
grab somebody's cigarette. They haven't had one in a long time. And to them, it's like the greatest sensation. If you've never
I've seen people grab someone else's cigarette, and to them, it's like the greatest sensation ever. He's talking about something he saw in a movie.
smoked, you just don't have that problem. So
Yeah, I don't have that problem grabbing cigarettes from other people.
I tell people for their children, no drugs, no alcohol, and no cigarettes.
They
At
obviously
least
work really, really hard. How'd you teach
They
them work
do.
ethic?
All right, this is the other thing. Like, Ramsey's like, yeah, that's not what I'm talking about, dum-dum.
They have to like what they do. If they
I see. So they have to like whatever job you gave them in the family business. And if they like something else, they're Tiffany.
don't like what they do, they do. My kids like what they do.
Do they? What Eric really likes pleading the fifth 500 times?
And I would say genetically, I'm a believer in genetics. I like
Gee, you mean racism?
it. I'm good at doing certain things. And
Uh-huh. Yeah. So if Eric gets busted for sexual assault, it's just in the genes.
racehorses, like two slow racehorses, don't produce a Kentucky Derby winner, right?
Okay, bigot. Your kids are not that great. Your kids are just barnacles on their grandpa's business. I gotta say, between you and Ivanka, I guess, who's the slower pony?
No, that's not the way it is. But you have to have an ability at something. And if you don't have the ability, don't do it. But most of
If you don't have the ability, don't do it. It's so, it's so simple and yet so complex. Motherfucker.
importantly, do something you like, whether it's your parents or not. Your parents want you to go into a business or they want you to go into a store with them if they have a store.
Yeah, that's what happens. Go into a store with them if they have a store.
I would say that You have to love what you do. If you don't love what you do, it's not going to work.
Follow your dreams, kids. Unless, your dream is to do something that doesn't make a lot of money, and then do something, go to your parents' store.
I've never seen it. If you don't want to get up in the morning and go to work. Now, a lot of people say, with all the people that come after you, do you really love getting up in the morning? You understand that, right? I'm attacked at left and right. But I do, because we make so much progress. We're doing great on the campaign, as you probably see. We're leading in the campaign now and doing
No.
well. We beat Biden, and we were up so far on him, and then they said, that's like a fight.
No, it's not like a fight. If anything, it's more like wrestling, where there's a tag team. That's why both sides have a vice president.
We're in a fight, and they changed the fighter in the middle of the right.
Well, ideologically, it would be a fight. Why would that be hard? Do your principles get exhausted? Is that what happened? Like, if you're fighting principle to principle, ethic to ethic, program to program, and then they swap out somebody with basically the same programs and ethics as the person that was in there, and what? Oh, that's why you're unable to adapt, which is why you and JD Pants keep talking about how Harris has been in office for 3.5 years and she should have done all these things, because that was the attack you were going to use on Biden for everything, and you just switched names because you're fucking lazy.
In the middle of the fight, they changed the fighter. And now we're beating her very badly. I'd be so interesting to see her in your show, because I don't believe that she would be able to answer any questions on what you discuss.
Yeah.
You mean like you've been doing? Like just totally egging it?
Better than anybody else.
Well, I'm happy to have her if she'd come.
I'm sure she would be. I'm sure she'd love to come. Yeah. She wouldn't come.
So I hear you're going back to Butler and finish the speech.
She is an actual vice president, sitting vice president right now.
I am. I'm going to say, as I was saying.
Yeah. Right? So when that happened and you get in the car, I know I saw a clip the other day that Melania was watching on television. Yeah. So she saw the shot.
After.
Saw you dodge, saw you go down, saw you.
No, she didn't. She saw after. She watched it like everybody else did after it happened.
Get up.
Yeah.
And how fast were you able to get on the phone and talk to her?
Well, I know she was calling, and, I was a little tough to take a phone call with blood pouring down your ear.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, speakerphone doesn't work?
People don't know. The ear is the bloodiest part. If you get hit in the ear, it bleeds, because that was a lot.
Hey, asshole. No. No, it isn't. Head wounds bleed anyways. Your ear is not fucking special. It was not arterial spray, fuckhead. You didn't get a liver shot and your abdomen was bleeding black blood, you dum-dum.
A lot of blood.
A lot of ketchup.
But no, I spoke to her by the time I got to the hospital. I spoken to her, and she was sort of watching it. She had it held off for a couple of minutes, and then somebody called her.
Edit. Look at that edit. What the fuck they cut out there? Hey, Dave. After you finish answering what the fuck are you nodding at when he's talking out his ass on the economy and taxes, maybe tell me what the fuck you were cutting out in the full interview.
She had it held off for a couple of minutes, and then somebody called her. And
Jesus Christ. Just like, whatever it was, it was bad. Talk about bad surgery.
Said, he's okay, he's okay. She said, what do you mean he's okay? What does that mean? She had no idea. And then she went back and pressed it.
Well, English is her 7th language,
Caught up.
She came here on a genius visa, so okay is a word that's just below her, I guess.
No, it was tough for her, tough for my son, too. He came out, somebody had said, your father just got hit. And
okay. You have 3 sons. We know you're talking about Barron from context clues. And maybe that part was edited out. Maybe you were just referring to it. But you do have multiple sons. Just saying.
He came in.
Notice he'll never say my daughter. He'll say Ivanka because he doesn't want people to think that he's talking to Tiffany.
And he was very, very riled up.
He was riled up?
Yeah.
It's a tough thing.
What do you mean, yeah? What do you mean riled up?
That was a tough day, and I don't
Riled up? What is he? Was he yelling at his mother or you? Was he throwing shit? What do you mean riled up?
recommend it for anybody. I got very lucky, or maybe more than luck.
Yeah. If you don't turn.
Yeah, it was probably more than luck. You know what I mean? I mean, it was a lot less than luck for Corey Comparator, I guess.
Your head and
Somebody
start
up there.
talking about the immigration chart at the precise moment.
If
it's
I
a
don't
problem.
turn,
Get the fuck out of here. What are you talking about? If the guy had gotten a flat tire on his way over there, Corey Comparator would still be alive.
my head at the exact 90-degree angle, if I was a
Bullshit. That's like saying if the guy's gun had some mud in the barrel, the bullet wouldn't have gotten as close to me.
little off, one way or the other,
Yeah.
it's I'm
Bullshit. It would have passed through your hair.
not doing this very nice. And
This is like I always think it's funny. Like they go like when somebody comes in, they always tell these stories in true crime stuff, or even if you watch like Cops or any of that shit. They have somebody who's shot and they're like, if it was just an inch to the left, it would have pierced his aorta and he would have died. He was very lucky. Like yeah, but if it was an inch to the right, it would have, I guess, gone through his lung and not really hit anything at all. I mean, if it had been 4 inches to the left, it would have gone through his armpit and, because he was waving. Like, at a certain point, I get that you're trying to tell me that it could have been serious.
interview with you.
If it was an inch, and again, it was a piece of the fucking teleprompter.
I wouldn't be around to do this interview.
So when you were in the White House for 4 years, you were talking about love.
He wasn't there for 4 years. He was president for 4 years, but he was golfing a lot.
Loving your work earlier. I have the privilege of loving my work. That's why I still
You
work.
do.
That's why I still do it. I don't need to, obviously,
Yeah.
anymore, just like you don't need to. What
Yeah, obviously.
was the most rewarding thing in the 4 years that you were there?
Yeah, that's a great question, Dave. Prepare to be disappointed.
For you?
So
The most, I mean, this is a crucial question. In those 4 years, what was it?
my whole thing is make America great again. All right, that's why I do it, and we did it. Then COVID came. We did a really good job on that. So it was always about
Wow, that's a lot of slicing. Apparently, this was a long, rambly answer. Look at the fucking cuts on this shit. What was the most rewarding thing? And he was thinking about like a moment. Well, sitting there with my wife and I'm president and I just signed a piece of legislation that made me very proud, right? That's what he's asked. That's what Ramsey is asking for. And what he got was a weird diatribe.
did it. Then COVID came. We did a really good job on that. So it was always about making it great again. I had the country going just prior to COVID coming in at a level that nobody had ever seen. And even if you go all 4 years,
Also, no. We entered a recession and before the effects of COVID actually happened because of his monetary policy.
it was so good that even with that terrible interruption that just destroyed the world, we had the greatest
The world is still here, by the way.
4 years. The
It's also not on fire.
economy was so great. The job numbers were the best ever, et cetera. And I
Etc.
think just that concept of what I had
Just
done.
the performance.
Yeah, but individual things, getting the tax cuts approved, biggest tax cuts in history.
No, not bigger than, I think the Reagan tax cuts were actually bigger. Never mind the per capita aspect of it and who it affected and the fact that half of it was temporary, but the ones for corporations were permanent. Fuck you.
Biggest regulation cuts in the history of our country.
Couldn't name one. Like what kind of regulation cuts you talking about? What are you talking about? Like making sure that the regulations that keep forever chemicals from ending up in fucking our rivers and streams. What regulations? Making sure kids' pajamas aren't flammable. Did you get rid of that one?
rebuilding the military. We did a job.
Yeah, the cupboards were bare.
Up in the I rebuilt the whole military, and then you see a lot of that military being given to Afghanistan stupidly because they left the country. I mean, and now you see them parading it back and forth.
No, you don't.
That was, I think,
No, you didn't.
the most embarrassing moment.
Yeah, we get it. He's asking you what your proudest moment, essentially, and you're like, yeah, fucking Afghanistan. That was embarrassing.
In the history of our country, what they did. But there were a lot of individual achievements that we had. The creation of Space Force, Space Force.
Which just, you named it. It was already a subsection of the Air Force.
Is now dominating space. And when I came.
It is? Sorry, do we have like robot and like astronaut warriors flying through? It's dominating space. Okay. We're dominating space. I'm glad to hear it. With our flying saucers.
There was no Space Force. The first time since Air Force, 78 years, maybe 80 years by now. And we are dominating space now. And we wouldn't be. We were being.
Again, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, first of all, we were already dominating space. We still are. What do you think they're doing? Do you think they shot down the shitty, like, Chinese space station and made it have a decaying orbit?
We were in third place by far, and now we're way in first place. And it's very important. Militarily, it's very important.
President Trump, thanks for taking time.
That's his idiotic ending.
Thank you very
Your
much.
team told us you got a speech here in a few minutes.
I do.
We were still able to squeeze this in, and I appreciate your time. Appreciate you hanging out with us a
It's
little
a
bit.
great honor. I've watched you for many years. I shouldn't
I've learned nothing.
say that but I can say it from both of us. I watched you for many years and a real pro. Thank you very much.
Thank you, brother.
What? Why have you watched him for many years? And by the way, when he says he's watched him for many years, he knows he's famous and has books and is believed to be smart about the economy and about money and shit like that. And it's like Rich Dad, Poor Dad and that kind of stuff. Oh, yeah, we forgot about Trump taking credit for the Ass Force. Yeah. Hold on.
New branch of the U.S. Armed Forces in 75 years, Space Force. Not since the Air Force.
Not since the Ass Force.
Good to see you. Thank you very much.
Also, what kind of weird fucking handshake? Never mind. I'm going to get all caught up in that dreck